Let's learn about the LGBTQIA community together. So, what does LGBTQIA stand for? L is for lesbians, females who are attracted to non-men. G is for gay, males who are attracted to other males, but it's also used as an umbrella term for people who just aren't straight. B is for bisexuals, individuals who are attracted to two or more genders. T is for transgender, individuals whose gender identity is different from the gender they were assigned at birth. Q is for queer, individuals who are questioning their sexuality, but it's also for people that feel that a specific label doesn't fit their sexuality exactly. I is for intersex, people who are born with characteristics like chromosomes, different genitals, that don't really fit binary notions of male or female bodies. And A is for asexual, people who don't feel sexually attracted, they don't have sexual feelings, they don't have sexual desires. And plus, just kind of encapsulates other genders and sexualities on the LGBTQIA spectrum. Gender and sexuality spectrum, and a quick summary. One important thing that we have to remember is gender is different from sex. Sex is how you're born. You can be born female, male, or, like previously stated, intersex. Gender is your identity, and like sexuality is a spectrum. What that means is, though we label sexualities and genders, they may not always fit into those categories like a neat box. Finding out who we are and what labels or lack of labels we want makes us feel comfortable, and it takes time. Many people use the term "it's just a phase" to invalidate younger LGBTQIA+ members, though growing and changing is natural in every sense, including finding what your sexuality and gender is. So just remember, you don't need to label yourself, but always be considerate to those who may be trying different labels. Let's take a look at some famous LGBTQIA+ people that you may very well know. Elliot Page is trans and is an actor that you may have seen in Umbrella Academy and Juno. He went from female to male. Lil Nas X came out as gay in 2019, and you may have heard his songs such as Montero, Industry Baby, or Old Town Road. Lady Gaga is bisexual and is well known for her music and her long support of the community. Raven-Symoné actually announced that she is married to a woman and opened up to her growth as a queer woman. She's well known for the TV show That's So Raven. It's an old show. The LGBTQIA+ community goes through many struggles, one of which being discrimination, and though gender and sexuality are labels, people in the gay community are discriminated against historically and still in today's age. Understanding how hard coming out is and how scary changing your name, pronouns, or what type of partner you want in the future is largely important, and pushing people down for wanting a better life for themselves is harmful to the community. Lots of times, people who are open to the community have a hard time really discovering themselves, and they need their own time to discover who they are. And it's important that if you know someone who's part of the community but isn't specifically out to people, it's incredibly important to not show their process and their sexuality or gender identity to people when they're not particularly ready for it. Let's look at coming out in general. Knowing who you are isn't easy. You right now are young, you don't need to label yourself, no one does. You can label yourself and find out another label that fits you better later on, and that's perfectly fine. You can grow and change at any time, and that's what makes it special. Giving yourself space and time to find out what you feel comfortable with is incredibly important. So what is outing or being outed? The Urban Dictionary definition of being outed is to reveal some previously secret part of someone's life, originally from someone coming out of the closet as gay. When you're outed, it is generally not by choice. The term being outed means that someone else who isn't you has disclosed this information, and many times it's without your stressed permission or consent. If someone ever comes out to you, understanding whether they are out or not is very important, and if that happens, you need to be able to ask if they are out and be aware. Let's take a look at the LGBTQIA+ timeline with some important events in history. In 1924, the Society for Human Rights was founded by Henry Gerber in Chicago. It was the first documented gay rights organization. In April 1952 through 53, the American Psychiatric Association's diagnostic manual lists homosexuality as sociopathic personality disturbance, basically marking being homosexual as in mental illness. In September 1955, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed an executive order that bans homosexuals from working for the federal government, saying they are a security risk. But also, the first lesbian rights organization in the United States forms in San Francisco. Daughters of Bilitis, also known as DOB. They host private social functions, fearing police raids, threats of violence, and discrimination in bars and clubs. September 11th, 1961, the first U.S. televised documentary about homosexuality airs on a local station in California. On June 28, 1969, police raid the Stonewall Inn in New York City. Protests and demonstrations begin, and it later becomes known as the impetus for the gay civil rights movement in the United States. 1976. After undergoing gender reassignment surgery in 1975, ophthalmologist and professional tennis player Renee Richards is banned from competing in the Women's U.S. Open because of a, quote, women-born women rule. Richards challenges the decision, and the New York Supreme Court rules in her favor in 1977. On January 9, 1978, Harvey Milk is inaugurated as San Francisco City Supervisor and is the first openly gay man to be elected to a political office in California. Then in 1978, inspired by Milk to develop a symbol of pride and hope for the LGBTQIA+ community, Gilbert Baker designs and stitches together the first rainbow flag, also known as the Pride Flag. October 14, 1979, the first national march on Washington for lesbian and gay rights takes place. It draws an estimated 75,000 to 125,000 individuals marching for LGBTQIA+ rights. In 1997, comedian Ellen DeGeneres comes out as a lesbian on the cover of Time magazine with the quote, "Yep, I'm gay." May 17, 2004, the first legal same-sex marriage in the United States takes place in Massachusetts. In September 20th, 2011, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is repealed, ending a ban on gay men and lesbians from serving openly in the military. Then, in May 9th, 2012, Obama became the first sitting U.S. president to publicly support the freedom for LGBTQIA+ couples to marry. Then, on March 24th, 2021, Dr. Rachel Levine, Assistant Secretary for Health in the Department of Health and Human Services, becomes the first out transgender federal official to be confirmed by the Senate. Here's an important note. We've altered the pride flag because a lot of people of color are being discriminated against much more than white gays, and we would not be where we are today if not for the massive POC influence in the LGBTQIA+.